What's going on, people? CP3, live from the lab, Sports on the Hill podcast, post game live, week 9. Redskins lose to the Falcons 38-14 to drop to 5-3. As you heard when I first started, I had to crack a adult beverage on this one because this was a total. This reminded me of week 2 versus the Colts. Ineffective game plan, defense on the field too long, opposing offense getting away with pick routes over and over again, yet our defense doesn't adjust to what they're doing, even though the referees aren't calling it, but then they decide to call it in the fourth quarter all of a sudden. I normally don't blame the games on ref, but I have to say this was one of the most lopsided called games that I've seen in a long time. And those little makeup calls in the end to put the numbers look respectable, to look comparable. The Redskins had 10 penalties for 174 yards. They had 7 for 50. I believe 3 or 4 of those was in the fourth quarter, some makeup calls, just to make it look like, yeah, okay, 10-7, it's not that bad. This is one of the worst officiated games I've seen. That holding call when the man went down with Morgan Moses and he just went on top of him. If that's a hold, Ryan Kerrigan gets held every play. But I'm not even going to harp on the refs. I got to go to Jay. Don, the defense got exposed by 1. They had 2 weeks to prep. By 2, as I just mentioned, they were getting over the rub routes, which are when the wide receivers cross and it makes the defender either have to step back or gets bumped off by his other man trying to cover his man. We saw that throughout the whole first half on plenty of those drives. They didn't call it, but they called it in the fourth. The defense played well, but they have a good offense. They have a passing offense. They have a quality quarterback. The team was getting pressure, but they weren't getting home and getting the sack. So that allowed Ryan to step up. He's good in the pocket, has great pocket presence, and he used that to his advantage. They did something that we all didn't expect. They were able to run the ball. And their spread offense allowed our defense to get spread out, the misdirection that they used. And their linemen were playing very well, and they outplayed our linemen. Simple as that. But as I said, they had a bye week to prep. They had extra week to prep for the team. They found the holes. They exposed them. You got to take your hat off. But what I don't like is Jay's lack of adjustments in game, horrible game plan off the break. Why are you coming out passing the ball against one of the worst teams against the run? You don't let your workhorse that's helped get you the last 3 wins even get going. Adrian Peterson had 9 carries for 18 yards. But you threw the ball 46 times and only ran the ball 19. What's been working for this team? And granted, linemen got hurt. Linemen went down. But how often do we see the 2-3 tight end set to help those linemen and get extra blockers in there and try to get some time of possession and control the clock instead of keep on giving the ball back to the potent offense of Atlanta? Let's see, Allison, man, play calling was trash, injuries, refs. Yeah, it was a ugly game. Like I said, it reminds me of week 2. Just a bad game you got to throw out and keep moving forward. Hope they bounce back like they did after the Saints game because they won 3 in a row. That's all we can do. And as I say, they can call holding on every play. They didn't call it. The team still didn't execute. Had drop passes. Had terrible play calling. No variety. Didn't mix things up. It was to the point where you knew what was coming. Just like you could see the defense was getting to the plays before the offensive lineman had the chance to even set up on most of the screens. Like they knew what was coming because they knew situational football. If it's 2nd and 7, Jay's going to call this. If it's 3rd and 4, Jay's going to call this. That's why I started the hashtag again, Bill Callahan for OC, because obviously Jay isn't getting it done, but no one is taking the reins from him. And everybody's going to blame Alex Smith. Oh, he dinks and dunks the ball. He doesn't throw deep. But if you're playing into the defense's hands, no matter what you do, you're going to be screwed. And when you have Kirk Cousins, he flourished despite Jay. I've said that. Now you have a quarterback that doesn't have the same mentality, that isn't a go deep type of quarterback. He's a check down guy. He's a game manager. So now he has to learn Jay's play call. And unfortunately, you have games like this. You had the 3 games prior where things was working, things was clicking, the running game was moving. But Jay didn't make those adjustments to the plays that the Falcons had, devised for this defense, and the way they scouted the offense. They were crashing down 8 in the box against the run off the break. So they were determined that they were going to stop the run. But you can't go away from it when you know that's what the team is going to do. Why do you think Atlanta got going? Because even though they weren't getting yards off the break, they kept going at it. They got momentum. They started wearing our defensive line down and started getting big chunks, as you heard them mention over and over throughout the broadcast. Valerie said this is a damn mess. Yeah, I can agree. He said you already know who said in the refs calling for the winning teams. Hey, like I said, what can we do? We see it. We can't do nothing about it. Even Jay mentioned something about it in the press conference I actually watched to see what he had to say. He actually still looked stupid, but it is what it is. What's up, Greg? Said if they can just get a break with the injuries, just one loss, forget about it and move on. Yeah, that injury bug, man, that was crazy how it hit the offensive line in that first quarter. We saw it last year with the defense, and we thought we was pretty good, had a few injuries here and there that didn't really hurt the team, but going through all 80 offensive linemen in one game is never a good thing, and that's why, I understand he didn't want to run the ball, but you have other formations you can run the ball out of. He constantly stayed in the 3 wide receiver set, because we always say, I always say, when Jay gets down 14 points, he goes into panic mode and it's pass, pass, pass. Like they said in the third quarter when they got the score, there's still plenty of time. But Jay wasn't mixing up any of his plays. And then speaking on that damn jet sweep toss reverse with Mo Harris coming on the backside, if they would just give him the ball one time on that reverse, they could have some success with that play, but they never give it to him. So teams don't respect it, and he runs free the whole time, but every time the play gets blown up because they know we're not going to give it to him. So that's some football 101. You got to keep the defense honest. If they know that you're going to run this play and you're never going to give it to the man coming around the backside, you just made it 11 on 10. Because then they're not going to guard him because they know he's not going to get the ball. He's just another man that they can just, let run down the field because he's not going to get the ball. That's the things that boggle my mind with Jay. David says we need O-line depth. I mean, they went through 8 line. They went through they had 8 linemen start today. They used all of them. That's more than most teams start. So, I mean, what can you do? You already had Trent out with the thumb. Then you lost Sheriff and Laval, both your guards. Nobody prepares to lose both their guards in the game. So, I mean, luckily we got through the game. Numbers didn't look as good because, like I said, flawed game plan and lack of chemistry through the line because there was new people shifting around. We saw what happens when the line is the starting line at the start of the season with Royer at center, Sheriff, Laval, Trent, and Moses on the outside. But, I mean, like Greg said, it's one game. 3-game winning streak is over. No victory Monday, but they're still in first place. They still got a lead. They got a game next week to bounce back, get back on track. Let's see. No, we don't suck, Bettina. It was one game. Stay medium. We won 3 in a row. Everybody was talking, playoff, Super Bowl, yada, yada, yada. We lost 1. We don't suck. We just had a bad game. It happens. Teams all across the league are having bad games today. Redskins just came on the wrong side of it. Don said every good play we made had a flag. Yeah, it did seem that way. Let's see. So say she don't mind the rest calling, but call it both ways. That's what I say. I don't mind the penalty calls if you're gonna call them. Just make sure you're consistent. That's all we ask for as a fan. And that's all the team asks for. But as I say, I felt it was lopsided. Brittany, what you got to say? I hope Jay Gruden gets hit by a car, fall over a cliff, and lands on jagged rocks. Yeah, that pretty much sums up the way I feel right about now. I mean, we see the same thing over and over again, and no one in the DC sports media calls him out. I just sit here and watch the after the game presser, and no one asks him about his in-game adjustments. And then when they do, they let him give some vague answer and don't hold his feet to the fire. But they're so quick to throw a player under the bus for not making a play, but they won't throw the coach under the bus for not calling a good game and putting his team in a position to win with good plays. And it's getting frustrating as hell. That's why I started the hashtag Bill Callahan for OC. I know folks laugh at me and say that he was a horrible head coach. Granted, but he's always been a great offensive coordinator. Look at his track record. Go Google him. Check out his Nebraska when he was in college. Check out the Oakland offense when he was there. He was tops in rushing and passing as the offensive coordinator. But you know who the owner was? Al Davis. So if he wasn't winning the Super Bowl, he had to get out of there. So that's why I don't say fire Jay, because you got to keep the continuity. You can't keep on firing coaches expecting success. Let him be the figurehead like Jason Garrett is in Dallas. Jason Garrett don't run nothing. He don't run the offense. He don't run the defense. He just stands on the sideline and claps. I can deal with that with Jay. Let Bill call the plays. But Jay is too much of an egomaniac to allow somebody to have control of the offense, of his offense. It's just not going to happen. Dawn says she cussed out Jay on Redskins Live. Yeah, I see that a lot. That trips me out when I see folks going in on the Facebook Live. Brittany says the defense is also to blame. No excuse for that BS. Play calling, no doubt, but the defense looked a hot mess. Well, Atlanta has a great offense, and they were allowing them to get away with those pick plays and those crossing routes. That's the only way the teams have been able to beat the Redskins' defense is by doing those. In the Indy game, that's all they did was crossing routes. So it's like hit or miss. They have to find a way to adjust. And that's on Minuski to figure out if they need to go zone, do some zone man coverage. Because they were actually getting pressure in the beginning of the game. They just weren't getting home, getting the sacks. Because Matt Ryan was doing a good job of eluding the pass rush and getting outside via some holds by the offensive lineman on Atlanta that somehow didn't get called. Even Charles Pitts picked up on a couple of holds that somehow got missed, as he put it. But, like I say, it is what it is. The game's over. Can't do nothing about it. We can complain about it. Well, just like we celebrate the victories for a day, we can complain about it for a day, then we got to get prepped for next week. Simple as that. Slim says complete trash. Yeah. Don says deer in the headlights. Yep, that's Jay. I say the same thing. What's going on, Robbie? I appreciate you coming on with you. I appreciate you sharing. Said penalties killed us throughout the game. Every time we were making a step in the right direction, we had a dumb play that either takes us away or extends the drive. The O-line needs to find a way to get healthy for sure. Yeah, it didn't look good with Laval going out in the wheelchair. And Moses came back, but he was still injured. Just a quick rundown of what Jay said on the presser. Sheriff was a shoulder, Laval was a knee, Reed was neck and back, and Dunbar, his knee/hamstring flared up, and Moses was his knee. So, yeah, that's why I hate that early bye week, because if you do get injuries, your players don't have a chance to get an extended rest to try to get back as close to 100% as they can, because after week 3, nobody's 100% anymore, no matter if you got injuries or not, with the beating these athletes take. David Perry says, "Need a better coach get to Michigan." Oh, Lord. We know the Redskins' track record with college coaches. I believe that's Jim Harbaugh. I think he does better in coach. We saw what he did in Stanford. We saw what he did when he came to the NFL, and we saw what he's doing back in Michigan. So some coaches are just made for college, like Nick Saban. He came to the NFL, got ran out, took over Alabama. Now we got Alabama Junior on our line right now. So some coaches just aren't meant for the NFL. I don't think he's meant for the NFL. Let's see. Slim said we was successful when he threw the ball downfield. We need to do that all the time. True, but he wasn't getting time today because the offensive line was patchwork, and that's what kind of frustrated me in the first half when the game was still close. Jay could have went to the 2 and 3 tight end set to give these linemen help that were backups and going against a nice pass rush. But he continued to throw the ball in the 3 wide receiver set, give these linemen no type of help against a team that had all the momentum. Just avalanche into, what it did. But this is what happens with Jay. This isn't something we haven't seen before. And I know Daniel Snyder, he sees it. The question is, what's going to be done about it? We can't keep on, seeing the same thing and expecting a different result. That's the definition of insanity. Now, I'm crazy, but that damn sure ain't insane. So, we've been talking about in the post-game live. I'm sitting here watching them now, so they're echoing the same thing I'm saying. Even though folks tell me I don't know what I'm talking about and try to type me down on Facebook, we all see the same thing. Jay has lack of adjustments. Once he gets behind, he goes into panic mode. Pass, 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 pass. And then when you do that, the defensive coordinator is like, all right, y'all go home. And eventually your offensive linemen are going to get tired because pass blocking is much harder and much more wear and tear on the offensive linemen than run blocking. That's why they love run blocking, because they're going downhill. They're pushing off on them. When they're going pass blocking, they're automatically in retreat mode and have to, defend off the defensive linemen. I don't know why Jay doesn't understand this and doesn't get this. It's crazy. And if you're watching the Saints-Rams game, it's 7-7, 4:45 left in the first quarter. This is the game of the week, so I'm going to definitely keep an eye on this, along with the post game, just to see what they're talking about, because I'm talking the same thing. No, I don't think we need Jim Harbaugh, David. I'm not a college fan, so I don't watch the games, but I saw what he did in San Francisco. We good. I'll take dumb-dumbness up there now over Jim Harbaugh. I'm sad to say, but yeah. Yeah, Don Jay sucks. It's the team. He's the head coach. The team can only go as far as the coach can take him. That's what head coaching is about. It's not always about the team, just the players develop, and the coach has to develop also. You see that with the successful coaches in the NFL. Bill Belichick is a prime example. He got ran out of Cleveland. He got 5 titles in New England, though. Sometimes it takes time to build a winner to get that mindset. Damien says we need to get a fast pass rusher like Von Miller. The pass rush, like I said, the pressure was getting there. They was containing him, but he was doing a good job of stepping up. They just weren't getting home. So, you got Pernell McPhee, you got Ryan Kerrigan, you got Preston Smith. My thing is, moving them around. You saw a little bit more Preston Smith being on the right side, Kerrigan being on the left side. That's what's going to help get this team going. If it was somebody out there for them to pick up, I know Junior Gallette's still out there, but I don't know. But, yeah, excuse me. Hit the mute button by accident. But, yeah, the pressure was getting there. They just didn't get the sacks that they normally get. I believe they only got 2 sacks today. But that's the way it goes sometimes. They got a turnover. Sometimes it's hit or miss. But you were going against a potent offense. We knew that. But I thought that Jay would have more of a time of possession, run the ball mentality to keep their offense off the field, not to try to shoot it out with them. But should have known with Jay's mentality, he would try to supposedly rise to the occasion of an opposing potent offense and try to show off and think that he could match with him instead of staying in his own lane and doing what his team does to win well, which is run the ball, play action pass game, and solid defense. Or at least that's what's won the game the last 3 weeks. Up until this game, then he decides to switch up. But as always, appreciate y'all tuning in. Appreciate y'all chiming in. David said he hopes Jay gets out of here. I always say who was out there, what you would get. Like I said, I'm not a guy to go with college to pros. So if you can name me an NFL coach to have some experience that you think can come in and make this team better, please chime in. Because, like I said, we got to have some continuity. This is my logic behind it. I've explained it before. Some folks just tuning in for the first time. I might not have heard it. Okay, you fired Jay. Then you bring in a new coach who's going to want to bring in his new offense. Then you have players signed that were on their way to flourish that's going to have to learn a new offense. That's going to be in a rebuilding process. Then where their contract is up, what do they want to do? They're going to roll to a Super Bowl contender because now they're out of their prime. Or they're right at their prime, they're going to want a payday because they've been on 3 or 4 losing teams and haven't went nowhere. Then you're going to be starting over on talent-wise along with a new coach with a new offense that's going to start to find a click, but once the free agents leave, you got to start from scratch again. We've seen this thing before. You can't keep on doing the same thing expecting a different result. That's the definition of insanity. I said it before. I'm crazy, but I'm not insane. We have to stop this vicious cycle. Minor tweaks can be made. Let Bill Callahan call the plays. But Jay is too much of an egomaniac. You see that with the game I'm talking about right now with the undefeated Rams with Sean McVay as head coach, who was here under Jay, but Jay had the final say-so on play calls. Now, if you think back to those years under Sean McVay, in the red zone ineffectiveness they had that he was blaming on Sean, don't you see some of those same plays being called right now in Washington? And Sean McVay's red zone offense is one of the tops in the league. But nobody's calling him out on that. I still go back to last year. At the podium when the man said he regressed as a coach. No one's called him out on that. I know I have, but they won't let me in that room. And I don't want to get our friends, the reporters that call in trouble by asking them to ask that question because you know they're going to put him out. But this is the stuff that goes on, and then folks want to blame the players or make excuses or blame Bruce Allen. If you can't see that Jay has something to do with this because he's the one calling the plays and the offense has been the most constant, inconsistent part of the team since he's taken over, the defense has flourished under Minuski in, 2.5 years. Can't say that about the offense. Granted, the offense has injuries. The defense had injuries last year. We saw them go from top rank to last rank. So that's why I'm not of that mindset to fire him. Minor tweaks can be made. You don't always have to throw away the whole thing because then it's a ripple effect. Allison said, doing the same thing over there and expecting different results is truly insane. Yes, indeed. But we do have, well, I can't say we have a great defense. We have a good defense that is improving and getting better and is on the upswing. But we have games like this where they couldn't get off the field. Atlanta went 10 for 13 on third down conversions. Now, remember last week I was bragging about the defense going, 12 for 15 on third down conversions and getting the Giants off the field. This week it was the opposite. When you're a great defense, you don't have those swings back and forth. You stay consistent on those third downs and on those things you're good at. That's why they still have room to improve. Plus adding Ha-Ha Dicks to the mix. You know, it's not just like a football game. You put them in there on Madden and you push a button and they do what they're supposed to do. He still has to learn the defense. He was out there. They have to learn each other. They haven't played together before, so, and they were going against a potent top offense, the top passing offense in the league. So the other teams get paid too. Houston is up on Denver 13-3. Second quarter, 11 minutes left. Houston is on the schedule. You heard them say that Houston is the last winning team that the Redskins have to play as of right now, with the way the records are falling out. What's going on, Steven? Appreciate you tuning in, man. Feel free if you want to come on and invite yourself. You can damn sure chop it up. Don says Norman was awesome. They all have room to improve. I'm not going to pat anybody on the back this game because there were plays to be made that didn't get made. They saw what they were doing with the rub routes. Sometimes the defensive player has to go off his instincts and make a play. If you know they're doing these rub routes and these crossing routes, somebody got to jump one of these routes. We saw Norman do it earlier in the game, and you saw the missed route ran, which got the other interception by Dunbar. But these guys got to be opportunistic, and I know you don't want to really freelance, but if you're seeing a trend on the field, I would rather you take a chance and miss big than keep on doing the same thing and getting beat chunk by chunk by chunk by chunk. That's frustrating as hell as a fan and as a defensive coordinator. So Somebody, that's what they say, somebody got to make a play sometimes. Somebody got to make something happen. And that's what this team is building. We're getting turnovers, but they're not getting those opportunistic turnovers like, they were getting. They were talking about on ESPN 980, they had a +8 turnover ratio. Redskins haven't had that since 2012 when they ended the season with +17 turnover ratio. Turning the ball over, you get a short field. When your team can score touchdowns instead of field goals, that helps your team. The 2012 team, remember back, RG3, Alfred Moore, zone read, y'all know what it was. So that's why I call the game planning and play calling is very key. David said we should have hired Gus Browning for DC. I mean, Greg Minuski's doing a great job. I mean, last year he was a top 5 defense until the injury bug hit. This year it's a top 5 defense as of right now until, this game right here. No telling where they're going to fall in rankings depending on everybody else. But Greg Minuski's done a hell of a job. I wouldn't want nobody. They was calling for Wade Phillips here. Brittany, I know she was a opponent, one of the Wade Phillips here. I was opposed to it. We see what he's doing. I love what Minuski's doing. We've had a couple of other folks that wanted Wade Phillips. But I know Minuski's here. He's doing a good job. They just got to get better. Simple as that. Jerome says Redskins don't match up with the Falcons. Yeah, they didn't really. I mean, they could have matched up, but they couldn't get the pressure. You can get pressure on Ryan and give him no way to step up to throw the ball. Then you can shut down any quarterback if you can get pressure. They were getting pressure, but they weren't getting home. And, those rub routes, they were coming in handy on them. Like I said, they was going third, and they was getting, production in the running game, which we wasn't expecting. They was getting, 3rd and 4s, 3rd and 3s. They had, maybe 2 or 3 3rd and long. So the ball just didn't bounce the Redskins' way this game. Let's see. David said we in trouble on the O-line. Well, it's early. Like I said, they MRIs. They're gonna find out what's what. Sheriff definitely didn't look good the way he was feeling about his shoulder. Laval, he didn't look good either with the way he had to go off in the wheelchair. Hopefully he didn't blow out his knee or something like that. But yeah, practice squad, next man up. They're gonna check the waiver wire once they find out what's what. That's why it's veterans out there or it's undrafted free agents out there. Get them in camp, see what they can do. Get them into practice, see what they can do, sign them, get them acclimated, get them on the field, next man up. That's what it's all about. Let's see. Referees got paid. He said the referees got paid today. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know. It was ugly. It was ugly. Said he got outplayed and out-coached. Yeah, that's the tender way it goes when the Redskins lose. They tend to get outplayed and coached. It normally goes hand in hand. Like I said, it reminds me of Week 2, the Indy game. It started ugly from the break and just got worse. And it started with 3 passes and a 3 and out. And when the team defers and gets the ball in the second half, you see they have a much better start of the game. The last three weeks before this, they was putting up almost averaging 17 points in the first half. They fell off in the second half. But the team finally got a touchdown in the third quarter. Yay. But other than that, you really can't have anything to hang your hat on from this game because it was a ugly game. You saw really no adjustment. The team was only down 7. But Jay wanted to keep passing. I don't know. I'm just a guy on, with his radio show talking stuff. I got told that every day on Facebook that, you just, you don't know what you're talking about. So, maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. Maybe I'm just sitting here wasting everybody's time. I doubt it, but, I had to say that for the haters. I know they probably tuned in. I'm not even going to mention your name because I called you out. I went Facebook Live. I invited you, and you didn't have, never mind. You didn't even want to show up, so I ain't even going to mention your name. Let's see. Devon said it gets away from the run when they trail early. And the team is not built to come back. The best defense is a strong running game to keep Ryan on the sidelines. Amen. I have nothing to add to that. I've said that over and over again, and I agree 100%. Let's see. Yeah, the Rams winning. Chargers up 12-7 on Seattle. Third and 13. Look like let's see. Looks like the Seahawks are driving. They're on They're on the Chargers 40, down 5 with 6:35 left. Russell Wilson dropping back, steps up, hits the man in the flat. Minimal gain, about a 4-yard gain. Third and 13. Punt team. Let's see. What's up, Johnny? Glad you tuned in. What's up, Michael? Hey, Erica. What's going on, baby? Don said you could coach if he's a coach. Hey, I say the same thing. I was just a defensive coordinator for the Boys and Girls Club, and I can dissect some of the plays that he's calling. So, hey, give me a shot. If he out there making $5 million a year, give me one. I'm good. Let's Michael said looks like we had a rough game. Didn't get the same. Yeah, it was a rough one, man. It was a rough one to watch. I watched it from beginning to end. It kind of hurt, but it is what it is. Any given Sunday, like they say, I didn't have Atlanta having a chance to win this game, so they proved me wrong. Redskins are 5-3, still in the NFC East, so still good, still in a good position in the NFC totally. So that's why I always say, stay medium. You all remember Jim Zorn. That's the one thing I take away from his time here. Stay medium. Don't get too high, get too low. Any given Sunday, you can get beat on that football field. Oh, that sucked, Michael. Sorry the game wasn't on in South Carolina. Well, I was tweeting out and posting during the game, so you can go back and read how it was, but you really don't have no need to. It's really nothing you want to go back and rehash. David Perry says they want Clowney on the team doing free agency. They got room under the cap, and Houston does have to, re-sign Watson, Hopkins, Watt. So, hey, he's a free agent. Definitely going to have to see what's up. But he does a hybrid thing down in there where he plays D line and he does play linebacker. With the chemistry that these guys have with Ioannidis, Payne, and Allen, which ironically I was listening to ESPN. Chris Cooley gave him a nice little nickname, IPA, Ioannidis, Payne, and Allen. They have a nice chemistry together, and with Payne taking up Allen taking up 2 blockers and Payne and Ioannidis on the end, it's becoming a nice D line, and I don't know if you want to disrupt that unless it's really needed. I think we need more outside linebacker pressure, and we do have some depth at D line. They still have Tim Settle, and I forgot the other young guy. That's why I missed Dugenay. He always has all the names. I know he's probably busy writing articles after this loss and this debacle, and probably watching the games that's on now just like I am. And look like the Rams have just scored again. And yes, they have. And it's now 14-13, Saints up by 1. 14-12 left in the second quarter. What's up, Aunt? Love you too. Thanks for checking it out. This is what we do, Sports on the Hill podcast. Post-game live after every game, win, lose, or draw. Sports on the Hill podcast every Monday night, 7 to 9. Tomorrow night we'll be covering Capitals, their up and down week. Wizards, their terrible start. This Redskins loss, the DC United playoff loss. So we've had 3 positive victory Mondays in a row, so I guess we had to come back to reality and get back to seeing that it goes both ways. So make sure you tune in tomorrow night as we break down all of those. I know it's going to be a kind of a bad show with mostly losses, but we're going to talk about it anyway because that's what we do. What's up, Levi? I appreciate you tuning in. Said they need a wide receiver, a real wide receiver. Also, the play calling is terrible. Alex Smith refuses to throw the ball more than 5 yards. We need more playmakers, period. 2 to 3 on offense and a couple more on defense. Those are some valid points. Wide receivers don't have a big name, which the defenses aren't respecting, so they're double teaming in Jordan Reed. We talked about this last week. We talked about this the last couple of weeks. But we've seen what happened when this team signs free agent receivers, especially during the season. Doesn't necessarily turn out well. You saw it with Terrell Pryor last year. So at some point you have to develop the talent that you have. Maurice Harris had 10 catches for $135. He's been on an undrafted free agent on the team for 4 years now, I believe. We got Sims, he's on the IR. You got Quinn, he's on the IR, should be coming off soon. the short-term IR, that is. So they have players on the roster that just have to get back healthy. Hopefully, I saw a rumor that Quinn might have been activated this week. Hopefully, maybe next week. But I don't want to just, start signing people off the street and then they got to learn the offense, learn the playbook, learn, the depth and route running and all of that. And then by the time they do all of that, you 2-3 weeks down the road. You see how long when they picked up Michael Floyd. They picked him up almost a month ago. He has like 3 catches on the season. So just by signing somebody doesn't mean you're automatically going to improve your wide receiver core. You're just taking up another roster spot that you could try to develop one of your young practice squad players to get him on the field, to get him experience. So that's the mindset this team is using now. Instead of building through free agency, they're building through the draft and using their players to develop them. Ryan Grant was a prime example. They didn't sign him back. He went to the Colts. He's doing pretty decent out there. I haven't looked at his numbers, but, he got a win against us, so I know that's all that mattered to him. As Steven says, Jay Gruden's a clown-ass coach and coordinator. I can't argue that point, man. I can't argue that. Let's see. Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll's happy in Seattle, man. He ain't going nowhere. Hey, thanks, Jerome. Bill Callahan OC. That's right. Throw that hashtag out there. Take the picture I posted. Hey, I have no problem. I want to get that hashtag going viral, man, because they got to hear us. So I want them to hear me. If you agree, let them hear us. Get it out there. Because I think that'll help a whole lot of issues going on with this team right now. I believe Jay is holding this team back in some aspects. I know most of y'all will agree, but they won't say it in the media, so damn it, I'm going to say it, because you know what? I'm media too. Let's see, Slim said all we have to do is start throwing the ball downfield and everything will fall into place. Yeah, I mean, we saw that over the past couple of weeks. Even if they haven't completed the pass, they've got the pass interference. There was reluctance today by Alex to throw the ball downfield, but he was under the rest for most of the game because had backup offensive linemen from the first quarter with no chemistry and guys shifting to different positions. So that's why I posted when I tweeted out, there was no rhythm, there was no consistency, there was no type of, any type of comeback in this team. Once we went down 14 and the lineman kept going down, I knew it was over, because in order to come back, you got to be able to throw the ball. You got to be able to switch up, mix up your plays. 2 things this team doesn't do. One because of Jay, and one because this team isn't built that way right now. But, like I say, you got players coming back. You still got a schedule coming up that's, advantageous for the Redskins to get back on the run. They just won 3 in a row. They lost 1. It's not all gloom and doom, people. Stay medium. Yeah, Don, I know short passes don't win all the time, but you got to remember the offense that Alex came from. Kansas City, where they have all those playmakers. Tyreek Hill, Kareem Hunt. Now they got Sammy Watkins also. So, I mean, you can just throw the ball 5 yards, let them get in open space and do it. But Chris Thompson wasn't there. Jamison Crowder wasn't there. Those are 2 of your best playmakers that open space can make people miss. So that's why I'm getting ahead of all of this Alex Smith hate, because I know it's going to be out there. I mean, he didn't have his playmakers. He did what he do. Mo Harris had his first 100-yard career, receiving game. Unfortunately, he's not a playmaker that can make people miss and do that. He's a possession receiver, but it is what it is. Said Dunbar made 2 boo-boos and came back with 4 great plays and could have made points. Yeah, I mean, I said that I wanted the team to see him score on defense. I wish they could have, but, I mean, unfortunately this team is 0-3 against potent offenses, the defense. But I'm not just going to put it on them. It's like I'm not just going to put it on Jay, but it goes hand in hand. If your offensive isn't effective, they were on the field, what they say, 12 minutes in the first quarter out of 15 minutes. No defense is going to be able to stand up to that. We were talking about the Jaguars defense a couple of weeks back. They won the field for 38 minutes out of 60. I don't care if you're 85 Chicago Bears. You're not going to last against an NFL team, especially with the hurry up, with all the different formations and all the different packages now. You got to play time possession. You have to run the ball as an offense, even if you're only getting 3 or 4 yards a clip. Because as we saw last week, that leads to that 64-yard touchdown run in the fourth quarter. because the opposing defense is wore down. But that's just football 101 in my book. I don't know what Jay's book looks like. Yeah, David, the offense has to get better, but this has been what's been going on under Jay since he's been here. He came in supposed to be the offensive guru. And that's what we got. That's the only thing that I fought Daniel about is he hired this dude. But you've seen some improvement. Like I said, I'm not going to be all doom and gloom after a loss. The team has played better. They've missed a lot of plays. But you have to look at, you got a new quarterback, learning a new offense, learning new players. Wide receivers haven't been healthy, so they haven't been able to build that on-field chemistry. You can practice all you want learning chemistry when there's nobody out there. It's a whole different ball game on Sundays against competition. So, and looked like the Rams just went for it on 4th down, and the punter ran for it again. That dude is a real athlete, and they've done that play over and over again. And they're measuring, looked like he might have came up short. No, was that a fake punt? I'm not sure what they got going on here. The Rams offense is so crazy. Now, it looked like he got it when they replayed it. Yeah, this Rams Saints game, if y'all checking it out, it's definitely something you want to check out after you get off the hill. You can watch it while you're talking to me. Let's see. Levi says they don't have good enough offense to score points for the big boys. They have to build a better offense through the draft and free agency. Yeah, I mean, they're taking steps. You know, Josh Doxson, this is his make or break year. You got Sims, like I said, rookie, coming, should be healthy. Trey Quinn, Mr. Relevant, last man drafted in the draft. He'll be coming back. You know, like I said, Chris Thompson was out. Jamison Crowder was out. So, I mean, you can't really give a fair assessment until you get all the tools back in the toolbox, man. You really can't say what this team is or isn't until you get everybody on the field at the same time. And then you can say what this team is. So, we've seen what happened when this team make knee-jerk reactions and start picking up people and signing free agents and all of that. It hasn't turned out well. Last few years, they've been building through the draft. Let's stick with what's been working. Trust the process, as they say. The people that they have in the organization, practice squad guys, next man up, got to step up. Don said the running game wasn't working, but yeah, I mean it wasn't working, but you have to continue to do it. Even if you're not getting big chunk yards, you have to wear down that defensive line. If the D line is just teeing off and pass rushing, that means they have the advantage because they're going forward, they're pushing off. That means the offensive lineman is automatically retreating. It's always going to be harder on your body to retreat and try to stand back up to pass block than to run downhill when you're run blocking and you're pushing off the break. So you're wearing down your own offensive lineman by putting them in pass blocking situations on a constant basis. That's one. Two, you have to pound the defensive line to wear them down. The way the defensive lines rotate now, where they have 6 or 7 men to rotate in and keep them fresh, if you don't wear them down and get them in the up-pace tempo and get those guys bent over, breathing heavy because they're getting ran over by AP or getting ran over by a screen or having to chase these running backs into the secondary or further down the field, then they're not going to be tired in the fourth quarter. And you saw what happened when the Redskins were trying to come back, trying to pass the ball. They were still teeing off because they were fresh, because they've been pass rushing all day. They haven't had stop the run, which is more wear and tear on their body, which wears them down, which, a defensive lineman hates. The offensive lineman loves run blocking because they get to exert their force onto the defender instead of the opposite way around. Let's see. Pete Carroll, the same offense as Jay Gruden, has a better coach. Why? Pete, yeah, he's a better coach, but he's not going nowhere. So, I mean, no reason to even talk about it. He's happy in Seattle. He got a Super Bowl there. Why is he going to go anywhere else? Let's see. Yeah, the Rams tied it up, so we can talk about. Care less about Dallas. They said, okay, go Capitals. Yeah, the Capitals. They missed Tom Wilson. I can't wait till he get back. He's appealing the suspension through a neutral arbitrator, but can't wait till he get back to get everybody back in their place and get some consistency and try to get things back. Say, let's give Trey a chance. Exactly, You can't just start picking up people when you haven't even know what you got in your own team. They said once we get down 7, the commentators have losing. Well, it's a track record. Once Dre gets down, he goes into panic mode. He starts, pass, pass, pass. There's no variety. He just starts throwing the ball because he feel like he got to stay into the game no matter what. And the game was close through the whole thing, but he just kept throwing the ball. I haven't went over the numbers yet. Let's go over the numbers. Alex Smith, 30 for 46, 307 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 3 sacks with an 82.4 quarterback rating. Now, everybody was crying about him not throwing the ball and not getting yards. Okay, you happy? He got a 300-yard passing game and a loss. We had 3 games with him under 200 yards, and they were wins. So y'all was all clamoring about we won yards, yada, yada, yada. He got yards. You happy? And it's in a loss. Exactly. You're welcome. Matt Ryan, 26 for 38, 350 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception, 121.6 quarterback rating. That says it all right there. AP, 9 rushes, 18 yards. I mentioned that. Bibbs, 3 rushes, 20 yards. Tevin Coleman, 13 rushes, 88 yards. Julio Jones, 10 catches, 121 yards and a touchdown. They knew he was going to get him a touchdown. They were determined to get him a touchdown. And I didn't want him to get it, but it happened. Let's see. As I mentioned, Mo Harris, 10 catches, 135. Brennan Davis, 5 catches, 62. Reed, 4 catches, 34. Doxson, 3 catches, 31 yards, 1 touchdown. Go over the quick team stats. Redskins had 21 first downs. Atlanta had 25. Redskins went 5 for 13 on third downs. Atlanta went 10 for 13. As a team, Atlanta had 154 yards rushing. The Redskins had 79. As a team, the Redskins had 288 passing, and Atlanta had 377. Like I said, Redskins gave up 2 sacks. Gave up 3 sacks. Redskins got 2 sacks. Penalty yards already mentioned. Time possession. Redskins had the ball 27 minutes. Atlanta had the ball 32. All those numbers let you know recipe for a loss. Let's see. David says we have to have balanced offense to win. Yep, I agree. I say when the team runs the ball 25 times and throws the ball 25 times, this team is unbeatable. Because that means they playing solid football, they run the ball, playing good defense, and doing play action passes. It doesn't have to always go down the field deep to win the game. You can do dink and dunk works. They can't stop it. We saw that today. What's up, Greg? Said we haven't seen a real passing game except the Saints. Look what happened to us then. Our receivers can't get it in. The O-line is hurt again. Yeah, I mean, I mentioned that. This potent offense, this team is 0-3. But you also got to look at the way Jay came out in those 3 games, pass against teams that were weak against the run. Those things play into each other, people. It's not just about folks going out there on the field just throwing their weight around. There's strategy involved in this also. And when you play into the opposing defensive coordinator hand, you make their job easier. And when Jay becomes one-dimensional, 46 passes to 19 rushes. That's the definition of one-dimensional. The Falcons, they do that on a regular, so they can do that. Because that's what they do. This Redskins team isn't built like that. So you're playing into the defense's hand because you're doing something you're not comfortable doing, which makes the defense job easier. All they got to do is add pressure and sit back and wait, which we saw. Simple as that. Let's see. Roster not the problem. We had the talent. Head coach Jay wants to run a high school offense. We could easily be a high-powered offense with Mr. Red. I agree. The man, Chopper Black. I think it's your first time tuning in, but I've said that numerous occasions, man. I agree with you 100% that Jay's play calling, when you see him do the pistol, you see him do the zone read option, you see him do the 2-3 tight end set, 3 wide receiver. Oh, you see that in all one drive? That's when the Redskins have success. But when you see him doing the 3 wide receiver, 1 tight end, 1 running back, all the way down the field or play after play after play until they end up punting the ball, this team isn't successful. He gets stuck in the mindset, and it kills this team. It's crazy. Yeah, I know, Don. I don't want him either, but it is what it is. Let's see. David said we need Kabri Bibbs more. I like Bibbs too, but he has more patience in the screen game. He outruns his blockers. I just want if Chris Thompson can get back healthy. I think he had a rib from last week. If he can get back healthy and get back contributing and get mixed of the plays better, because now when he comes in, teams really notice the key on him, and that's why he hasn't been getting loose like he has been previously. So it all comes down to game planning and coaching and setting your plays up and having strategy in what you're doing. Sometimes Jace just pulls plays out of his ass and just calls them just because. He doesn't set his plays up, and when he does have something that's working, misdirection or something like that, he doesn't take that shot off of it or do something to try to capitalize on it unless he's behind. It's like he plays scared when he has a lead. When he's behind, that's when he goes pass. I'm like, let's do this. It's crazy. Let's see. Don says, wrap them ribs up, give it a shot. Hey, ribs are a bad injury. That's what ended my career. So, hey, you don't mess around with them ribs. But, damn, speaking of ribs, I think that's what I'm going to have for dinner tonight. I'm about to go out and grab something to eat. I appreciate y'all tuning in as always. We got the link set for the show tomorrow night, as I said, 7 to 9 as always. Might go a little bit over. Talking Capitals, talking Redskins, talking Wizards, talking United. And we talking Redskins definitely in the 8 o'clock hour. Dujournay definitely be on. We're going to break down this debacle and look forward to next week's game. Looking to rebound and get back on the winning ways. Y'all have a good night. Enjoy your Sunday dinner. Enjoy these second round of games. I'm about to go grab me some grub and enjoy these games myself. Appreciate as always. Sports on the Hill Podcast, True Radio Network, CP3 live from the lab. Always love the love and support you guys give me, and appreciate it, and much more. Let's see. Say when they get Goose comes back, Geist comes back, you're gonna need more production out of the talents. Hey, can't talk about the future. He's not here yet, not back yet. Haven't really heard. I heard that he's been in rehab, been doing okay. So I mean, you know, we can always see. We don't know what he can do until he gets on the field and produces on the NFL level. I'm trying to think of who we play next week. I looked at the schedule earlier. Who the hell was it? Jesus. I done had too much to drink. I can't remember, but I'll check it out. You can check it out. We'll talk about it tomorrow because we definitely going to break it down. Y'all have a good night. Be blessed. Y'all be easy.